In part 2, we have some more advice. You must give context to the player as soon as possible because you've only got one shot in the 21st century, quote unquote. People quit easily. If they get frustrated, they quit. If something's too hard, they quit. If something's too easy, they quit. You've got to get it right, and you've got to help them understand what's going on as soon as possible. Level flow is important. Think about how the various spaces in the level fit together and how they fit with what the player is supposed to do, where the player is supposed to go. Does the player get a chance to learn how enemies work so that he can put that to use later? You're trying not to surprise the player, I suppose you could say, or at least to give them some chance not to be surprised and give them a chance to figure out what they can do beforehand, rather than just throwing them into a situation they've never run into before with no warning or previous information. Does the intensity of the level ramp up? Remember, with pacing, you want alternating relaxation and tension, but as the level goes along, that tension should get greater and greater despite the relaxations. A simple thing, do the monsters get more difficult as the level goes on? Variety. Variety contributes greatly to replayability. Is there sufficient variety in the gameplay? Does it seem like the same fight is happening each time? That's not good. Does it seem like every time you get in a fight you shoot a crate and it blows up, something like that, or you shoot a barrel and it blows up? You don't want that. You want variety. Does the level or adventure help, in effect, train the player with new skills so that they can use them when they really need them? Here we have 10 Principles of Level Design from Dan Taylor, an article on Gama Sutra. And there's a reference to part 1. There's also a part 2. He says, good level design is fun to navigate. I think we've mentioned many times wanting to be able to see where you're supposed to go and how to get there. Good level design does not rely on words to tell the story. It relies on events, on the actions of the players and the NPCs. It relies on actions and showing rather than telling. Good level design tells the player what to do but not how to do it. Give the players a choice. Let the players feel like they're in control. Good level design constantly teaches the player something new. Because, after all, games are all about learning, according to Rafe Koster and many other people. Good level design is surprising. Miyamoto says that what he's trying to do is surprise the players. Miyamoto being the designer of Donkey Kong and Zelda and many other things. Surprise the players. Good level design empowers the player or players. In other words, it lets them feel like they're in control, even though, of course, we know they aren't entirely in control. Good level design allows the player to control the difficulty. In other words, you can run away. I've seen so many Dungeons & Dragons modules designed with the notion that players will come up to something, break down a door, and all rush in, and that players will always fight whatever they encounter. Well, in the campaigns that I ran, sometimes we actually ran away. Why not? If that makes more sense, let's do it. Well, some referees don't even let you run away, and that's not good. That's not good. Good level design is efficient. That's a sort of a platitude. Good level design creates emotion. Ultimately, it's emotion in the players that you're striving for. Good level design is driven by your game's mechanics. Take advantage of how the game works when you make the level. So level design is an awful lot about thinking. You have to be aware of the possibilities and problems. You have to reread whatever you've said, review what you've done, think.